Hey everyone, good morning. Well, I am back at Ryder again this morning, and they have had my truck for a week, and supposedly everything is fixed. Well, they fixed the windshield and the mirrors apparently and the brakes, and apparently they did an alignment on it, so we will see. Well, let's see. Yep, definitely some new slack adjusters on there, which is what I asked them to do. Very good, very good. Yep, looks like they put new slack adjusters on there too. Very good. And notice how they're not as far out as they were before. Interesting, isn't it? And here's the front. Yep. New slack adjuster on that side. And new slack adjuster on that side. Amazing. I actually got called and they said basically that I shouldn't be yelling at Ryder. I guess you could say I got in trouble, even though it was more of just a warning than anything. So I basically told them, well, sometimes you have to yell at people to get things done. So, but guess what? Things got done. So we'll find out here after I start driving it if they actually did an alignment on it, see how it drives, and we'll go from there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have got our trailer now, and I guess you would say it's the maiden voyage again. Looks like we got it. So we'll see how it does as far as the front end shaking. Thing is, it only really does it under a load, so I think we'll have to wait till we get down to Austin and come back up with our load, see if it's still doing it. They said they did an alignment on it. Ooh, this thing stops good now. Barely have to touch the brakes. And that's the thing. See, right now, see, right then and there, I barely had to touch the brakes to stop. And they were trying to argue with me about the slack adjusters being fine. But yesterday, when we went in there, they hadn't had it finished yet. It was supposed to be finished, but they didn't have it finished yet. They said they were checking the S-cams and everything, so see, exactly, the brakes were bad. But yet they chose to argue with me and Jeff about it. But as I was saying this morning, when I was pre-tripping my truck and making sure they did everything right, basically on, when was it? Was it yesterday? No, it wasn't yesterday. It would have been a couple of days ago, yeah. So, my boss calls me up and says, hey, I need to talk to you about an incident you had. And I said, I had an incident. Okay, well, yeah, about Ryder. They said you were yelling and screaming and stuff at him. And I basically told him, yep, absolutely I was. And basically he said, you can't do that. You represent, the company and all that stuff. And I said, yeah, absolutely, I do. But here's the thing. When you take your truck in 5 times for the same thing and it doesn't get fixed, he said I was being aggressive. I told him sometimes you have to get aggressive to get your point across. But look what happened. They replaced the windshield, they replaced my mirrors, they did all 6 slack adjusters. Apparently they did an alignment, we'll see about that. And they checked the S-cams, they probably checked the whole brake system. Although I could see that my shoes and everything were good, so I didn't worry too much about that. But it's funny because I told him, do you want me to drive a truck that's illegal, that might crash into somebody? He said, well, no, I don't want you to do that. And I understand your frustration. I said, no, it's not frustrating. It's unsafe and unacceptable. So, but yeah, I'm just ranting this morning. But hey, I got my truck back. I'm back in business. Hopefully this front end won't be shaking crazy. I don't mind a little shake. I can deal with a little bit of shaking, but when it's shaking to where you can feel it in your teeth, yeah, that's not good. Something happened apparently, according to the GPS. Oh, is it down this area too? Rear-ended. Oh, in a truck too. I don't know. Hard to see because it's so dark. Well, guys, we are back again where we always seem to be, back at the plant. So I'm going to drop this trailer and hook up to another one. And since it's daylight, we're going to actually look at the brakes. Well, it's somewhat daylight. It's still very cloudy today. Usually it's more daylight than this, but it still gives us enough light to look at the brakes even closer than at 4 o'clock in the morning when it's very dark outside. So we'll take a peek at them and see the difference. All right, so let's look here real quick without getting too dirty. So as you can see right there, now it's a little bit of daylight, right there. See that silver part where the brake rod is, or the push rod, whatever you want to call it. Everybody calls it something different right there. So before it was, well, it was about 2 3/4 out. Now it looks like maybe it's about 1.5 inches. Right where it's supposed to be, maybe less, maybe even 1 inch. And those are the same brake chambers, just new slack adjusters, that's all. And that is exactly where it's supposed to be. Nothing changed with the brake chambers, so it's still the same exact push rod. that, let's look at these front ones. So the front ones before this precise one was at 3 inches. Now look at it, right there where the zip tie is. That's maybe an inch. But yet they tried to argue with me that my slack adjusters weren't good, or were good. They said, oh, there's nothing wrong with your slack adjusters. And that side looks like it's good too. Yeah, they're all new. So, yeah. They got mad at me for yelling and screaming at them, but you know what? Did stuff get done? Yes, it did. I would have measured the rears as well, but the ground is a little wet, so I didn't want to get all wet, but the fronts are super easy to measure in 1 inch compared to 3 inches. Yeah, it's a lot better. Well, guys, the vibration is still here. I got a 43,000 pound load and it is vibrating pretty bad. So I took a video. Hopefully this will work because of my hat over here, this little box just bouncing up and down. So I'm going to send it to my boss, see what he has to say about it, because it's just, I mean, it's to the point where it's, I don't know if it's unsafe. It probably is, because a front end should not be doing this, or whatever it is causing it should not be doing it. But I don't know. I have never had a truck that might. Actually just his exhaust, but that's a pretty new Cascadia that he's got. Probably at least a 2018. I think that's when the new body styles came out. But yeah, I think he's got a problem, because if he's smoking that bad, and that's a DEF truck, so he shouldn't be smoking that bad. He's got a problem. Guys, we made it back to our warehouse. I had to run back over to Ryder to pick up my car, my pickup truck. Pick up my pickup truck. And got a ride over there, picked it up, but I really don't know what they're gonna do about this truck, because yeah, I got brakes, but now it's still vibrating when braking, and I don't know. It's irritating. And I'm going down the road with it shaking that bad as yeah. But I'm I'll go inside, work in the warehouse a little bit, and probably go home. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but you can hear something is loose somewhere. It is not my job to diagnose stuff, although it might as well be. Okay, ran over.